give thanks for the Lord is good. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so, whom he redeemed from the hand of the enemy. There were those who dwelt in darkness, in the shadow of death and misery. They cried out to the Lord in trouble, saved them out of all of their distress. Pours out contempt on princes, they make abundant in a pathless way. The Yehudim Haita, Ora B'Simcha, B'Sason B'Ikar. The Yehudim Haita, Ora B'Simcha, B'Sason Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. That's men. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Again. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Man, come on. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good, everlasting. Turn from sorrow into gladness, victory from the enemy's attack. Haman, son of Hammedatha, rose up to finish the deeds of Amalek. Then God raised up Queen Hadassah, fasted 3 days and a noose for Haman's neck. The Yehudim Haita, Ola B'Simcha, B'Sason B'Ikar. The Yehudim Haita, Ola B'Simcha, B'Sason B'Ikar. Simcha B'Sason Yehudim, Mishtei V'Yom Tov Rabbi, Me'ami Haaretz Yahadim. Simcha B'Sason Yehudim, Mishtei V'Yom Tov Rabbi, Me'ami Haaretz Yahadim. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Man, sing. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Sing. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. His loving kindness is everlasting. If you're not singing, you need a shot of booze, I think. Come on. What was done in all of the kingdom? What was done in your great hand? Who can see how you power, but not your plan. They saw your holiness, but not your hand. And all of your hidden ways you reveal to all of those who love your holy name. They saw your power, but not your plan. They saw your holiness, but not your hand. And all of your hidden ways you reveal to all of those who love your holy name. What was done in all of the kingdom? What was done by your great hand? Oh, who can see how you have led us? Who sought your favor in a foreign land? You redeemed your holy people, protected by your hand from evil. Oh, now sins Paso stay, thy joy, gladness, and of peace. Oh, now sins Paso stay, turn from sorrow now to joy and peace. A feast and a holiday by all the nations seen. They saw your power, but not your plan. They saw your holiness, but not your hand. And all of your hidden ways you reveal to all of those who love your holy name. Your name. Is our refuge and strength, a constant help when trouble is come to me. I won't fear, though the earth may slip away, or mountains thrown into the sea. Though its waters roar and foam, all the mountain stone, wake and fall with swelling pride I'll sing. Adonai Tzavot Imanu, Ishkavanu, Elohei Yaakov. Oh Lord of hosts, He is with us. He's our fortress, God of Israel, who Atov, God of Israel, who Atov. There is a river whose streams bring gladness to the city of our God. Only there, dwelling places of the Lord, never move, He's moving with His to sing. He's with us. He's our fortress. God of Israel, who Adonai Tzavot Imanu, Mishkav Lanu, Elohei Yaakov. Lord of hosts, you are with us. Oh, you're our fortress. God of Israel, who Adonai. God of Israel, who Adonai. Will be exalted in the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters spears, burns the shields and ends our fears. I'll be at peace to know you are God. Oh, I will be exalted in the nations. Oh, I will be exalted in the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters spears, burns the shields and ends our fears. I'll be at peace to know you are God. I'll be at peace to know you are God. Adonai Tzavot Imanu. Try to sing it. Mishkav Lanu, Elohei Yaakov. Lord of hosts is with us. He's our fortress. God of Israel, who Adonai. God of Israel, who Adonai. There's a river. There is a river whose streams bring gladness to the city of our God. Holy land, dwelling places of the Lord. Never move your ruling with your rod. Oh, the nations make the noise, the kingdoms he destroys. He raised his voice, melted all the earth. Adonai Tzavot Imanu, Mishkav Lanu, Elohei Yaakov. Oh, Lord of hosts, he is with us. He's our fortress. God of Israel, who Adonai. God of Israel, who Adonai. God of Israel, who Adonai. God of Israel, who Thank you, Abba, for Purim. Thank you for your Ruach, your Spirit that designed and devised Purim. Thank you for your Torah that weaves together with your Spirit. And I ask, Lord, just even as we're reading through the Megillah, that you would do miracles, that you would do amazing things, that you would speak to us by your Spirit in the name of Yeshua. Thank you, Abba. Thank you, Lord. Those of you who are, as Proverbs said, and I don't know if you've ever seen this, heroes at drinking wine. You ever seen that? It's in Proverbs. There are those who are heroes at drinking wine. And then it goes on further to make fun of them and mock them and say how disgusting and horrible that is. It just is. I'm sorry, it is. So there's a different way to drink. And if you've never done it, you have to practice. So if you're not feeling like tipsy and light and like, okay, I'll do that, you haven't drunk enough. You haven't drunk enough, and you may not have drunk right.
So when we're drinking, you need to stay focused on, number one, the day, Purim. And can I have you three come sit over here, please? Close. And number two, you need to stay focused on, listen, you need to stay focused on what we're doing. And what we're doing is trying to figure out, why did God tell us to do this crazy stuff in the first place, right? Yeah. So, but you're not going to figure that out if you don't stay focused on it, because you're going to, like a magnet, you're just going to snap back to what you know. So you need to drink. You need to drink. Even if you're a recovering alcoholic, as they say, you need to learn how to worship with booze, because it's in the scriptures. It's in Deuteronomy chapter 14. It's only one place. There's several places, but that's the clearest. And it says when you go to Jerusalem to worship, you may worship with, and it literally says beer or strong drink. So these are the things that you're supposed to worship with. That's why God made this stuff. It's not, for you to forget your problems. It's to worship with. So that's why we say the prayer, the Borei Puri over the wine. But we need, is there anything else, any other booze but wine?
No, that's it.
Just wine. Okay, so we got that. I'm not sure I'm going to bust that out yet. If I bust it out, I'll say the prayer. So we need, so if you're not loose enough to open your mouth and sing and worship and read from the scroll, which is going to be up here, and I'd like everybody to read. Come up here and read. And if you're embarrassed, drink. Just drink something. And so until you're not embarrassed anymore. And the reason is, I have, a method to my madness. Listen, the scroll has pictures in it. The scroll has pictures. Some of you should be taking care of that. The scroll has pictures in it. Listen, please. The scroll up here has pictures in it, like literal illustrations to help you get into the mood and to see what's going on and that sort of thing. Plus, it has the Hebrew and the English. And I want you to see it. So I'd like everybody to come up and read at some point, okay? Make sense? Yes. It's not to embarrass you. It's so that you get, feel a part of it. And I'm going to say it again. If you're too embarrassed, get another drink. And Carlos can help them out. He's our designated spiritual bartender. Spiritual bartender. Okay, so there's only four. I'm sorry, what? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
If the mind's a picture of the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, does that mean that we can get full with the Ruach HaKodesh?
Well, you can act the picture out of it, sure. Yeah, you can act out that picture. Like, wine is the Holy Spirit. It's a picture of the Holy Spirit. And, what does wine do to you? Happiness loosens you up, gives you simcha, joy, sason, gladness or happiness, and it loosens you up. That's the Holy Spirit. So let's try to keep the silly comments to the silly comments that we're going to do while we're doing the Megillah, because we are going to do them. Okay, so there's only four things that are enjoined on us. That means tells us to do stuff that the Bible tells us to do for Purim. There's only four things. Number one is the Mikra Megillah. That means read or call out the Megillah. Number two is Mishteh V'Simcha. That means a feast and a joy. And remember, I told you what Mishteh means. What does it mean? Feast. Nope. Like joy. Nope. Come on, pay attention, please. What does Mishteh mean? I told you about 7 minutes ago. A drinking party. What does Mishteh mean?
Drinking party.
Open your mouth. What does Mishteh mean?
Drinking party.
A drinking party, literally, and that's in the Bible. It doesn't mean a party. It means literally a drinking party. But I'm going to say this again because, people got here late. We don't drink like the Gentiles drink. We drink to worship. Okay? So it's a different kind of drinking. Then, Mishloach Manot. Do we have Hamantaschen?
Yes.
I didn't even look. We have a few. How many different kinds of Hamantaschen are over there?
Oh, well, there's one kind of real Hamantaschen.
Oh, mine's not real.
No, yours isn't
Oh,
real.
okay.
So we got two, that's it? Only two kinds of Hamantaschen? Okay, that's what Mishloach Manot is. That's why I said I want everybody to try to make Hamantaschen. That's what I said.
Right.
Because it's sending gifts of portions, like portions of food. That's what the Hamantaschen is. We give it to one another. We share it with each other. And then Matanot La'evyonim, which means gifts to the poor. This is the season for that. These four things are what we do at Passover. Now, if you look at the top, Esther 9:21, it says, to enjoin them to make the 14th day of the month of Adar and the 15th day thereof every year the month that was reversed. Not the day. The whole month was reversed for them from grief to joy, from mourning to a holiday, the whole month of Adar. That's why we say in Adar, be happy, it's Adar. Because it's the whole month that was flipped for the Jews. Not just those days, not just those 2 days. And then in 922, to make them days of Mishteh. What does Mishteh mean?
Drinking party.
Drinking party. And joy, Simcha, and sending food or portions to a neighbor, Mishloach Manot, and gifts to the poor. So here's pictures for each one. We're going to read the Megillah, Mikra Megillah. See the costumey stuff? This is where the Gentiles got, what's the thing that they do?
Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras. This is where they got Mardi Gras from. And they twisted it, turned it into a disgusting drinking party. But it's supposed to be a drinking party, only it's been twisted. So we put on masks. I'll tell you why in a minute. And we wear costumes and we dress up. You know, we're not ourselves. We're somebody else. And I'll tell you why. And then there's the Mishteh Simcha. This is how we used to do Purim. We used to dance all night. We used to drink and dance. You can't really see it, but there's sweat pouring off of us. And we would whoop it up, and I'd just play music and music and music, and people would dance and dance and dance. You know, that's where I want to move to. That's what I want to move toward. Then Mishlach Manoat, there's some Hamantash in there. And then Matanot Le'evyonim, gifts to the poor. So, why do we wear masks and dress up in these silly costumes? The reason is that Esther means hidden. Hidden. She's not, the name of God never appears in the book of Esther. So why is it in the Bible? Because the whole message of Esther is about God being hidden. He makes himself hidden. He hides himself. He's not like magically hidden because that's the way the world works, like gravity. He hides himself. And he says this in the scriptures, and he does it on purpose. Esther means hidden, just as God is hidden in the story. God and his name never appears in the Megillah. Not his name, not a mention of him, nothing. But it's in the Bible. But he is then revealed when the Jews judge his enemies. Like at the end of the book, then all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, there's God. And it says many of the people of the land became Jews.
Right.
Why would they become Jews? Because God is now obvious. And he's with the Jews. So he becomes revealed when he and the Jews judge his enemies. In the same way, he will be revealed in the day of the Lord. It says it here in Deuteronomy 31. It says it. But I will surely haster astir panai. Can you hear that sater in there? Esther means hidden. And God says, I will haster astir panai. I will hide my face in that day. So when's he going to hide his face? In the day of the Lord, because of all the evil they will do. For they will turn to other gods. It's talking about the Jewish people. They're going to turn to the Gentile ways, to Hellenism. And because of that, God's going to hide his face in the day of the Lord, but then he's going to be revealed. And we all know about him revealing himself in the day of the Lord. But it says he's going to hide himself first. Does that make sense?
Yep.
That's why Esther's important. It's a picture of the day of the Lord. That's why it's important. That's why it's in the Bible. So it should give us information about the day of the Lord.
On the seventh day, when the heart of the king was good from wine, he commanded Mehuman, Bishta, Harbona, Bigta, Abagta, Setar, and Karkas, the 7 eunuchs who served in the presence of Ashashbenosh.
That would be eunuchs. No, that's what it said. The 7 eunuchs.
Eunuchs who served in the presence of Ahasuerus, the king, to bring Vashti, the queen, before the king with nothing but the royal crown. Woo! Striptease! To show the people and the priests her beauty, for she was beautiful to look at. But Queen Vashti refused to come at the king's command by his eunuchs, and the king's anger burned in him. And the king said to the wise men who knew the times, for so was the king's manner toward all who knew law and judgment, and those closest to him, Karshna, Shatar, Admara, Tarshish, Meres, Marshna, Memucan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, who saw the king's face and who sat first in the kingdom. What shall we do to Queen Vashti according to law, because she has not performed the command of King Ahasuerus by the eunuchs? And Memucan answered in the presence of the king and the princess, Vashti, the queen, has wronged not only the king, but also all the princes and all the people who are in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus. Next.
When we get deeper into the story, you're going to hear some loud sounds.
Do I write this way? or
No,
this way?
you write this one.
I know, wait. So you just read this.
Yeah,
And I
just
don't
read
read
that. No, just that one.
Okay. For this word, the queen shall be known to all women, so that they will despise their husbands in their eyes. When it was reported that King, I don't know how to say this, Varosh commanded Queen Vashti to be brought to in his presence, but she did not come. And this day all the ladies of Persia and Media will respond in the same way to all the king's princes who have beard of the deed of the heard. Okay, because it looks like a bee. Okay, heard of the deed of the queen, and there will arise much hatred and wrath. If it please the king, let him issue a royal decree written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, so that it cannot be altered, that Vashti is to come no more before the face of the king. How do you say that king's name? Ahasuerus. And let the king give her royal position to another, one better than she. Ooh. And when the decree is proclaimed throughout all his great kingdom, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small, and saying pleased the king and the princes. And the king did according to the word of the Memochai, yes. And he sent letters to all the king's province, every province according to its writing, and every people after their language, that every man should rule in his own house. And it was proclaimed in the language of every people. Next.
After these things, when the anger of King Ahasuerus subsided, he remembered Vashti, what she had done, and what had been decreed against her. Then the king's ministering servants said, "Let beautiful young virgins be sought for the king, and appoint officials in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather all the beautiful young virgins to Shushan the capital, to the harem, to the custody of Hegai, the king's eunuch, keeper of the women, and let their ointments be given them. And let the girl who pleases the king be made queen instead of Vashti." The matter pleased the king, and he did so. There was a Jewish man in Shushan, the capital, named Mordecai ben Yair. Mordecai ben Yair ben Shimei ben Kish of Benjamin, exiled from Jerusalem by Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. He had raised Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had no father or mother. The girl was beautiful of form and good looking. And when her father and mother died, Mordecai adopted her as a daughter. So when the king's commanded decree was heard, when so many girls were gathered together in Shushan to the custody of Hegai, that Esther was brought to the king's palace, to the custody of Hegai, guardian of the women. Okay, next. All right. So it's going to be this one.
Okay, don't
Okay. Where is it? It's right here. The girl.
Okay. And the girl pleased him and won his mercy, and he immediately provided her with her beauty treatments and her food. And he assigned to be seven.
Her. It's an H.
And he assigned to her. It's an H. Okay.
Yes.
To her 7 maids selected from the king's palace. I also want that too.
Yeah.
And he advanced her and her maids to the very best place in the harem. Okay, and the H looks like a B. Esther.
Yay!
Is that an H or B?
Had
not declared who her people were, nor her country for Mordecai.
Yay!
Had charged her that she should not rebuild it. And every day Mordecai walked back and forth in front of the court of the harem in order to learn how Esther was and how she was doing.
Okay, next. Next.
The H looks like a B.
Oh yeah.
This one.
Cool.
Okay.
Now, when the turn of each maiden came to go to the king Ahasuerus, after the end of the 12 months under the regulations for the women, for the days of their beautifications were completed as follows.
Hold on.
Yes, sir. You okay? Ahasuerus. As follows. 6 months with the oil and myrrh, and 6 months with spices and the cosmetics for women. The maiden would go in to the king in this way. Anything that she desired was given her to take with her from the harem to the king's palace. Huh? Harem. Okay. In the evening she would go, and in the morning she would return to the second harem and to the custody of Hegai. Okay. The king's eunuch, who was in charge of the concubines. She would not go in again to the king's unless the king delighted in her and she was summoned by name. Now, when the turn of Esther, daughter of Abigail, the uncle of Mordecai, had taken her as his daughter, come to go into the king, she did not request anything except that Haggai, the king's eunuch in charge of the women, advised. And Esther found favor in the eyes of all that saw her.
Commercial break. Commercial break. The rabbis say you're supposed to drink so much or in such a way that you cannot tell when we're telling the story between Mordecai and Haman. Oh. Like he gets confused. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Why? Because that's how the Jews felt. They didn't know if they were going to live or die. And so you're supposed to drink to where you get to that place. Some of you got to drive, so I wouldn't suggest it. But if you're not driving, I would suggest it.
I got a hammock.
I'm trying. Next.
Yep, next.
You're going to have animal horseback here.
You're wearing glasses. Oh, you need 2 glasses. Oh, okay.
Reading glasses and driving glasses.
Oh, okay. So we're going to start right here and then this whole paragraph.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay. So Esther was taken to the king Ahasuerus, to his royal palace in the land in the 10th month, which is the month of Tebet, in the 7th year of his reign, and the king loved Esther above all the other women.
Wait. Another commercial. The rabbis say that if it says the king, but it doesn't say Ahasuerus, it's not talking about Ahasuerus. Who do you think it's talking about?
God.
It's talking about God. But if it says Ahasuerus, it's literally talking about Ahasuerus. So if it says the king, that's God.
You're supposed to.
The king loved Esther.
Okay, let's say it again. And the king loved Esther above all the other women. And she found grace, and he said she found grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins, so that be said the royal crown on her bed, right? Head. Okay, on her head, and move her queen instead of Vashti. Then the king made a great banquet for all his princes and servants. It was Esther. Yes! Esther's feast, and he gave gifts according to the majesty of the king. Who's the king? God. And when the virgins were gathered together the second time, then Mordecai said in the king's gate, Esther had not yet revealed her country nor her people. As Mordecai had charged her. Oh man. For Esther did as Mordecai told her. As when she was brought up with him. Who's next?
Okay.
Where are we?
Okay, right here. I guess you're doing this one.
Now when the turn of each maiden came to go in to King Ahasuerus,
He's neuter.
Neutral.
after the end of her 12 months, under the regulations for the women for the days of their beautification were completed as follows: 6 months with oil and myrrh, and 6 months with spices. Oh, there. This way. Scratch that. So Esther was taken to King Ahasuerus to his royal palace in the 10th month, which is the month of Tevet, in the 7th year of his reign.
He already read that.
So we're going this way?
Wrong way. No, that way. Oh, yeah, I told you.
Did you scroll around? All right. In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate. Have we read that one yet? No. Okay, good. Two of the king's eunuchs, Bigtan and Teresh.
Yeah.
Was that it? Teresh?
Bigtan
and Teresh, of those who guarded the door, were angry and sought to lay hands on King Ahasuerus. And the matter was known to Mordecai, who told it to Esther, the queen. And Esther informed the king of it and Mordecai's name. And when inquiries were made of the matter, it was found out. Therefore they were both hanged on a tree, and it was written in the book of Chronicles before the presence of the king. Next!
Come on, next.
Thank you. You can borrow them. Where am I? Do I start with?
Come on with 20. Where should she start?
I just showed her.
No, she's asking.
The section that it's at.
Show her.
Show you again?
Yes, please. Sorry.
It's okay. This section right here.
Okay. The whole thing.
Yeah.
Muy bien.
Whole chapter.
Yeah. I need glasses. Anybody have glasses for my glasses?
I left them up there.
Are those yours or his?
They're right here.
Yeah. Glasses for my glasses. How strong are these? Oh, can't see with that either. All right, we're going to double it.
It's okay.
After these events, okay, hold on. After these events, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman. All right, I'll sit down. Okay. Ben Hamedad. Help. Okay. No, Hamedad. Hamedata, of course. The Agagite, and advanced him and established his authority over all the princes who were with him, and all the king's servants who were in the king's gate bowed down and paid homage to Haman.
Not today, Haman.
For so the king had commanded concerning him. But Mordecai neither bowed down nor paid homage. Uh-oh. I see trouble coming. Then the king's servants who were in the king's gate said to Mordecai, "Why are you transgressing the king's charge?" Now when they had spoken daily to him, and he would not listen to them, they told Haman to see whether Mordecai reasons would stand. Okay. For he had told them that he was a Jew. Good thing. Yay! When Haman saw that Mordecai neither bowed down nor paid homage, to him, Haman was filled with rage. But he disdained to lay hands on Mordecai. For they had told him who the people of Mordecai were. So Haman sought to destroy all the Jews. Boo! The people of Mordecai, who were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahish. Yeah, that one. Okay. Yes, sir. Okay, next. Next.
Come on.
Otra vez.
Let's go. Who's next? Oh, for goodness sake. Come on. What?
We'll take all three of you. Oh, and you got a very short one, so.
We got a short one.
Yes.
Big G, thank you.
Right here, Don.
Wait, there's a big step right here.
I think this is going to really help.
There's wires right here.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, now I'm going to have wine now. I'm done. Right there.
Okay, we're on this one.
Yes,
Here,
ma'am.
this
And
Right
we're
there.
reading this way, that way, right?
No, it's English.
Okay. Okay, try this one, son.
I'll leave these up
Try to
here.
speak into the microphone, okay? Hello?
Testing.
Yeah, it's on. Okay. Let's put it over so you can speak into the mic, okay? It's right here. It's in English. Try your best.
Those days,
Speak loud so everybody can hear you. Talk into the mic so everybody can hear you.
in those days, the Mordecai
Yay! This one.
sat to the king's gate. Two of the king eunuchs, Bigton and Teresh, of those guarded the door, were angry and sought to lay hands on the king.
That's what she told us to read.
That's the last one.
That's what she told us to read.
Goes the other way.
This one.
This one.
Okay.
There you go, baby.
After these events, King Akabash promoted Haman
Haman.
then
Hamendata.
The
Agatite, and advanced him and established his
Next page.
in the first
month, which is the month of Nisan, and the 12th year of King Akavash, her that is the lot of cast before Haman from the day to day and the month to month until 12th month, the month of Ador.
Okay, how long did he throw the lots?
12 months.
11 months.
11 months. From
month to month until the 12th month. So 11 months.
11 months.
Then Haman said to the king, Abashmerosh, there was certain scattered and dispersed among the peoples and all the prophecies of your kingdom. These laws are different from those of all other people, and they do not observe the king's laws. So it is not in the king's interest to tolerate them.
If it is pleasing to the king, let it be decreed that they be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver into the hands of those who carry on the king's business.
Hold on, buddy. Another commercial.
Don't lose your spot.
That is the equivalent of $1.5 billion in today's money.
Wow.
For the 10,000 talents. For the privilege of getting to murder every Jew on the planet.
That's crazy.
Business to put into the king's treasuries. Then the king took his signet ring from his hand and gave it to Haman ben Hamasha the Bata, the Agagite, the enemy of the Jews. And the king said to Haman, the silver is yours, and the people also, to do with them as you please. Next.
Go, Rabbi, go. You want to do it? I was going to tell you.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
To the left. To the left.
To the left. Oh, okay. Then the king's scribes were called on the 13th day of the first month, and they wrote according to all that Haman had charged the king's satraps. What is that? Helpers. And to the governors that were over every province, and to the rulers of every people of every province according to its writings, and to every people in their own language. In the name of King Ashavash Verosh. Akash Verosh. I got the Verosh right. It was written and sealed with the king's ring. And the letters were sent by couriers to all the king's province. Samuel, stop.
Don't look over there. Come here.
To destroy, to kill, and to annihilate all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, on the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar.
That's today, baby. That's today.
And to plunder their goods. The copy of this decree was given out as the law in every province, to be proclaimed to all the peoples, so that they should be ready for that day. The couriers carried, or is it buried? B-U. Buried out by the king's word, and the law was given in Shushan, the capital. And the king of Haman sat down to drink, but the city of Shushan was in confusion. This was the 13th day of Nisan. Next.
One day before Passover.
Wow.
One day before Passover.
I'll read it to you. Okay. Careful. Walk her down. Walk mommy down.
Next.
Come on, Isabel.
Next.
Don't fall. Come on.
When with Mordecai,
All the bad
when all the bad
been done. He tore
he tore
his clothes, put on sackcloth
and
ashes,
and
went out
went out
into the midst
into the midst
of the city,
and
wailed loudly
and bitterly.
He went
He went
as far as the king's gate,
as far as the king's
gate.
gate.
For none
For none
was to enter the king's gate,
to enter the king's gate,
clothed in sackcloth.
clothed in sackcloth.
And each
And each
and every province
and every province
were the word
was the word
and the law
and the law
of the king came.
of the king came.
There was great mourning
There was great mourning
among the Jews,
among the Jews,
with fasting,
with fasting,
weeping,
weeping,
and wailing,
and wailing,
and many
and
joy.
many
lay on sackcloths
many lay on sackcloth
and ashes.
and ashes. Esther, maidens,
And eunuchs
and eunuchs
came
came
and told her,
and told her,
and the queen
and the queen
withered
withered
in great anguish.
in great anguish,
And she sent garments
and she sent garments
to clothe
to clothe
Mordecai,
Mordecai,
that he might
remove
his sackcloth
sackcloth
from him.
from him.
But
But
he did not accept them.
he does not accept them.
Then
Then
Esther
sent them
Hatak from the king's
eunuchs
appointed
appointed
to attend her, and instructed him to go
to Mordecai
to learn
to learn
what this was
what this was
and why.
and why.
So
So
Hatak went out
to
to
Mordecai
to the city
square
in front of the king
in front of the king
gate.
Mordecai
Speaking of it, Mordecai
told
him
him
all that had happened
all that had happened
and the exact amount
and the exact amount
of money
of money
that Haman
Haman
had promised
as promised
to pay
to
to the king's
treasury
for the destruction of the Jews. He also gave him a copy of the text
of
the law issued in Shushan for their destruction, that he might show
Esther
and inform her and to order her to go to the king to beg his favor, to plead with him for her people. Next.
Good job. Look, you want to do it again? Come on. We're trying.
I like the picture just saw.
Right here.
As God talked to the children and she listened. Everything he was saying. That's right.
You want to help him read?
and Habakkuk came to the related Mordecai's words to Esther. Then Esther spoke to Habakkuk, introducing him to a play Mordecai. All the king's servants, the people know that for any who comes to the king to inner court, who's not summoned, he has but one word, that be put to death, unless the king holds out to him the golden scepter, so that he may live, and I have not been summoned to come to the king for these 30 days. Then Mordecai told you to them to reply to Esther.
Yay! Nobody got it.
Do not imagine that you in the king's palace can escape any more that the Jews, for if you will remain silent at this time, will lead to deliverance. Arise the Jews from another place, you and your father's house will perish, and who knows whether you may not attain royalty such as a time as this. Then Esther returned this answer to Mordecai. Go gather together all the Jews
of
Shushan and fast gather for me together and to not eat or drink 3 days. Right. And thus
I will go into the
king, which is not according to his law, and if perish, I perish. So Mordecai went and did according to all that Esther had charged him. So the Jews fasted and prayed on the 14th, 15th, and 16th of Nisan, Passover, and unleavened bread. Next.
Come on, this way. High five. Good job, dude. Go that way.
Good, y'all.
Go that way.
Nah,
Any of these?
no. And it came about on the third day, the 16th of Nisan, that Esther put on her royal robes and stood in the inner court of the king's palace in front of the king's rooms. And the king was sitting on his royal throne in the throne room, opposite the entrance to the palace. And it was when the king saw Esther, the queen, standing in the court, that she found favor in his sight. And the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter. Then the king said to her, "What is troubling you, Queen Esther? And what is your request? Even to half of the kingdom it will be given to you." And Esther said, "If it please the king, may the king and Haman come this day to the banquet that I have prepared for him." The king said, "Bring Haman quickly, that we may do as Esther desires." So the king and Haman came to the banquet Esther had prepared. Go next.
We go to
And the king said to Esther at the banquet of wine, "What is your petition? It shall be granted you. It shall be granted you. And what is your request? Even the hall? Half. That's an each. Half of the kingdom shall be granted." Then Esther answered and said, "My petition and my request is, if you have found favor in the sight of the king, and if it is pleased be the king to grant my petition and my request, Let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I shall prepare for them, and tomorrow I will answer the king. Next.
Right there? That's where you left off?
Yes.
Okay.
Michael, we can skip. Michael, we can skip.
Huh?
We can skip.
No, you don't want to skip.
You don't want to skip?
No. You can read as much as you want, but you don't want to skip. Yeah, skipping.
I don't understand skipping. All right. Then Haman went out that day, the 16th of Nisan, glad and pleased of heart. But when Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate, and that he did not stand up or tremble before him, Haman was filled with anger against Mordecai. Haman controlled himself. However, he went to his house and sent for his friends and his wife and Zeresh. Then Haman recounted to them the vastness of his riches and the number of his sons and all the honor the king gave him. And how he bad promoted him above the prince and the servants of the king. Haman also said, even Esther, the queen, let no one but me come to the king to the banquet that she had prepared. And tomorrow also I am invited by her with the king. Yet all this does not satisfy me every time I see Mordecai, the Jews sitting at the king's gate. Then Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends said to him, have a gallows 50 cubits high made, and in the morning ask the kings to have Mordecai hanged on it, and to joyfully with the king at the banquet. And the advice pleased Haman, so he had the gallows made. All right, you're already set up.
I can't see. There. That night, 17th of Nisan. What festival is that? No. Well, it is during unleavened bread. But what festival is the 17th of Nisan? There you go. First fruits. Bikurim. The king could not sleep, and he commanded to bring the book of records and the chronicles, and they were read before the king. It was found written that Mordecai had told of Bigtana and Teresh, two of the king's eunuchs, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hands on King Achashverosh. And the king said, what honor and dignity has been done to Mordecai? And the king's servants who ministered to him said, nothing was done for him. And the king said, who's in the court? Now Haman had come into the outer court of the king's palace to speak to the king to hang Mordecai on the gallows that he had prepared for him. And the king's servants said to him, behold, Haman stands in the court. And the king said, let him come in. So Haman came in, and the king said to him, what is to be done for the man who the king delights to honor? And Haman said to himself, hey, you don't take my kavwasi, Haman didn't say that. Haman said to himself, who would the king desire to honor more than me? Then Haman said to the king, for the man whom the king delights to honor, let the royal clothing be brought which the king wears, and the horse that the king rides, and the crown is set upon his head. The head of the horse. Hey! The head of the horse. Not his head. The head of the horse. You missed it because you weren't paying attention. Boo! And let this clothing and horse be delivered to the hand of the king's most noble princes, that with it they may array the man whom the king delights to honor. And bring him on horseback through the streets of the city, and proclaim before him, thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delights to honor. Then the king said to Haman, hurry, do that. Take the clothing and the horse, as you have said, and do for Mordecai the Jew. Mordecai the Jew. Mordecai the Jew. I got lost. Who sits in the king's gate? Let nothing fail of everything that you've said. So Haman took the clothing and the horse and arrayed Mordecai and brought him on horseback through the city streets in the middle of the night, by the way, and proclaimed before him, thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delights to honor. Or something. And Mordecai returned to the king's gate, but Haman hurried home mourning, with his head covered. And Haman, now if you want to boo her, you can, told Zeresh. That's his wife. She is, I think she should get a boo. Zeresh, his wife, and all of his friends, everything that had befallen him, poor baby, and his wise men. And Zeresh, his wife, said to him, you know, Haman, if Mordecai, before whom you forgot, before whom you have begun to fall, is of the seed of the Jews, you cannot prevail against him. But you will surely fall before him. And while they were still talking with him, the king's eunuchs came and hurried to bring Haman to the banquet that Esther had prepared. Next. This one right here. Watch it.
So the king and Haman came to feast with Esther, the queen. And the king said again to Esther, on the second day, the 17th of Nisan, what day is that?
First fruits.
Purim. At the banquet of wine, what is your petition, Queen Esther? It shall be granted you. And what is your request? And it shall be fulfilled, even to half of the kingdom. Then Esther, the queen, answered and said, if I have found favor in your sight, O king, and it please the king, let my life be given me as my petition, and my people at my request. For we are sold, and I and my people to be destroyed, slain and annihilated. If we had been sold as male and female slaves, it would have kept silent, since the distress would not justify disturbing the king. And King Ahasuerus answered and said to Esther the queen, who is he and where is he that presumes in his heart to do this? And Esther said, the adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman. Then Haman was afraid before the king and queen. And the king, arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath, went to the palace garden. And Haman stood up to beg Queen...
Another commercial break. Where it says the adversary is Haman. The adversary.
Hasatan?
Hasatan.
I was going to ask if it says that.
He's the devil.
And the king, arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath, went to the palace garden, and Haman stood up to beg Queen Esther for his life. Please don't kill me. for he saw that evil was determined against him by the king. Now when the king returned from the palace garden into the place of drinking wine, Haman was falling on the couch where Esther was. Then the king said, "Will he even assault the queen with me in his house?" As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face. Then Harbona, one of the eunuchs who stood before the king, said, "Behold," wait a minute, "behold." Also the gallows standing at Haman's house, 50 cubits high. How tall is that? 75 feet?
75 feet.
Más o menos. Which Haman made for Mordecai, who spoke good on behalf of the king. And the king said, "Hang him on it." So they hanged Haman, except yay. So they hanged Haman on the gallows which he had prepared for Mordecai. And the king's anger subsided. Next!
Right here.
Where?
That's where you stop.
Right here?
Yep.
Okay. On that day, the 17th of Nisan, first fruits, King Ahasuerus gave the house of Haman, the enemy of the Jews, to Esther the queen. And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told how he was related to her. The king took off his ring he had taken from Haman and gave it to Mordecai. And Esther set him over the house of Haman. Esther spoke once more before the king, fell at his feet, and pleaded with tears to avert the evil of Haman and his plot devised against the Jews. So the king held out the golden scepter to Esther. Esther arose, stood before the king, and said, "If it please the king, and if I have found favor in his sight, if I am pleasing in his eyes, let it be decreed to revoke the letters of Haman ben Hammedatha the Agagite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews who are in all the king's provinces. For how can I endure to see the destruction of my brothers?" So King Ahasuerus said to Esther, the queen, and Mordecai the Jew, "Behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and they have hanged him on the gallows because he would lay his hands on the Jews. So write about the Jews as you please in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring. For that which is decreed in the king's name and sealed with the king's ring, no man can revoke."
Okay. Commercial interruption. If you did not get me Hamantaschen, go get some. Because remember that's Mishloach?
Yeah.
Manot. The giving, the sharing of portions with your neighbor. Get you some Hamantaschen. Right. Then I'm going to teach on it a little bit. It's so true.
Yes, you're right.
Yes. And if you still know the difference between Haman and Mordecai, get another drink.
We're out of wine.
No, there's still some. I just saw some. There's some Mogan David.
Oh, okay.
Did you bust it out?
No, he finished the bottle.
Bust out the Mogan David. It's in the fridge.
I got it.
You got it in the
Yep.
fridge? He's on it.
All I gotta do is wine.
Twice.
Right? Okay, let me tell you about the Hamantaschen. If you've never had them before, Haman is the bad guy, Haman, and Taschen means pocket, but it's really the hat. So, if it's a Haman hat, what's it filled with? What's it filled with? Guys, I need an answer. If it's a Haman hat, what is it filled with?
Haman.
Haman's
Brains.
brains. This is the difference. This is extremely important. Listen to me. Listen to me. The difference between Christianity and Judaism is that Christianity comes from the world of the Greeks, which is focused on the brain. Judaism is not focused on the brain, how much you know. It's focused on the heart. You hear me?
Yes.
That's a huge difference.
The big heart.
Nobody cares how much you know. We care about who you are. We care about what you're becoming, what's in your heart. And that's Judaism. So we eat those Haman hats because it says in the sages say this. They say that in the day of the Lord that there's going to be a feast of Leviathan. Which is in the scriptures, by the way, in Isaiah 27 and other passages. It's also in Revelation 19. The feast of Leviathan, it says all the beasts and all the birds are going to come and feast on the bad guys. And that bad guy is Haman. And it's called Leviathan. And it's basically Hellenism, the way of the Greeks. That's going to be completely nuts in the day of the Lord. So, let me say this again. Nobody cares about how much we know. Right. Nobody cares. Nobody cares how much we know. God cares about who we are and what comes out of our heart. Yeah? Yep. Yeah, that's the difference between Mordecai and Haman.
Okay. That was a good commercial. The king's scribes were called at that time in the 3rd month, that is the month Tzion, on the 23rd day. And it was written according to all that Mordecai charged the Jews, and to the satraps, governors, and princes of the provinces from India to Cush, 127 provinces, to every province according to its writing, and every people in their own language, and to the Jews according to their writing and their language. And he wrote in the name of King Ahasuerus, and sealed it with the king's ring, and sent it by couriers who rode swift horses, bred from the royal stud. The king granted to the Jews in every city to gather themselves together and to stand for their life, to destroy, to slay, and to annihilate any armed force of any people or province that might attack them, their women and children, and to plunder the goods of their enemies. On one day in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus, on the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar, a copy of the text to be issued as law in each and every province was published to all the peoples, so that the Jews should be ready for this day to avenge themselves on their enemies. Woo! Yay! Next. Who wants? Okay.
No, on you. Somebody else?
Hello, everybody. How you doing today? So the couriers who rode on horseback, riding on royal steeds, buried and pressed on by the king's word, and the law was issued at Shushan, the capital. And Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal robes and blue and white, and with a great crown of gold, and wearing garments of fine linen and purple. And the city of Shushan celebrated and rejoiced. For the Jews there was light and gladness and joy and honor. And in every province and in every city where the king's word and his law came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day. And many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them. Woo! Next.
That's it?
That was it.
Keep reading.
Keep reading, sir. Now in the 12th month, that is the month of Adar, on the 13th day, when the word of the king and his law were about to be executed, And the day when the enemies of the Jews hoped to gain the mastery over them, it was turned to the contrary, so that the Jews themselves gained the mastery over those who hated them. The Jews assembled in their cities throughout all the provinces of King Ahasuerus to lay hands on those who saw their harm, and no one could stand before them. And the dead of them had fallen all over the people. Even all the princes of the provinces, the satraps, the governors, and those who were doing the king's business assisted the Jews, because the death of Mordecai had fallen on them. Indeed, Mordecai was great in the king's house, and his fame spread throughout all the provinces, for the man Mordecai became greater and greater. Next. Mordecai rules. Next.
Next. Come on, next. Big G. Come on.
Come on, Big G.
Or
little G.
Little G has to eat first, sir.
Yeah.
Right here, there's a bunch of names, though.
Oh.
Good luck with that, buddy.
Hey, Big G.
Yeah.
How do you keep that kippah on your head? Glue.
It just stays there.
The Holy Spirit.
Those the Jews struck all their enemies. Those the Jews struck all their enemies with a sword, killing destroying, and they did what they pleaded to those who hated them. And the Shushan, a capital of Jews, killed and destroyed 500 men. And Parshadet, what is that? Parshanet?
Vashti. No, she's gone. No, is it?
Darshet? Darshandet?
Where's the glasses? Listen. Parsha.
Oh! Wait. Let me say something about this. This is the 10 sons. Pastor, come here. Pastor, come here. Where's my glasses?
Oh, she's gone.
Can I use them?
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
Okay. Pastor, come here. If you haven't seen this, you have to see this.
Yeah.
Come here. This is how the 10 sons are written in Hebrew. This is how the 10, if you haven't seen this, you can come up and take a look at it.
Yeah.
This is how the 10 sons are written. And there's 3 letters that are either bigger than normal or smaller than normal. And if they add it up, there's a certain way that they added up the numbers, I'll get out of your way, that equals 1946. And in 1946, they were supposed to hang 9 Nazis.
Right.
But it ended up being 10 because one of them killed himself.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is a prophecy of 1946 when the 10 sons of Haman were hung in reality during Hitler's reign.
Right. But this will happen in the day of the Lord.
It will happen in the day of the Lord also. But it already happened in picture form in 1946. Yeah, isn't that a trip?
It is.
So do you need help with the Hebrew?
Yes.
Okay.
Parshandet?
Oh, jeez, I can't see. I'll do this, okay? Parshandata. And Dalphon. And Aspata. And Porata. And Adalia. And Aridata. And Parmasha. And Arisai. And Aridai. Vaizata.
Wow. And 10 sons of Haman's Ben Hamadata, the Jews' enemy, but they did not lay their hands on the plunder. On that day, what day?
The day of the Lord.
Yeah.
13th day of the 12th
On that day, number of those who were killed in the Shushan, the capital, was reported to the king.
Woo!
Is that it, or do I go?
Keep going.
Keep on, keep on.
And the king said to Esther, the queen, the Jews have killed and destroyed 500 men in Shushan, the capital, and the 10 sons of Haman. What have they done in the rest of the Hamans? What have they done in that rest of the king's province? Now, what is your petition? And it shall be granted.
Wait.
Commercial.
How many, you said, in all the king's provinces? How many provinces were there?
70.
Very good, Vita.
100
How
what?
many?
127.
127.
Provinces.
That's how old Esther, Sarah was when she died.
True.
127 as a prophecy of all the nations coming to God.
Wow. All the nations coming together.
All right. So
God. And what is your petition? And it shall be granted to you. What is your further request? It shall be done. Then Esther, Esther said, if it pleases the king, let it be granted to the Jews in Shushan to be tomorrow also according to this day's law. And let Haman's 10 sons be hanged in the gallows. So the king said, it should be done. And the law was issued in Shushan. And Haman's 10 sons were hanged. And the Jews who were in the Shushans assembled also on the 14th day of Adar and killed 300 men in Shushan. But they,
how many?
300.
No. Read it again. 500. 500. You are correct, sir.
Wow, it says 300?
No, it says 500.
It's an upside down 3.
Oh.
It's hard to read in that font.
Ah, okay. Okay, so 500 men in Shushan, but they did not lay their hands on the plunder. Now the rest of the Jews who were in the king's province assembled to defend their lives and rid themselves of their enemies and killed 700,000 of those who hated them. 700,000?
Wow.
No, 7,500,000. Yeah, 7,500.
It says 700,000?
75,000.
75,000. Oh, that's very different.
Yeah.
Right. A lot. Still a lot.
Yeah, a lot of zeros. But they did not lay their hands on the plunder. Next.
Luigi.
Ah, there you go, there you go.
She's still eating.
All right.
Okay.
Sir.
Okay, this was done on the 13th day of Adar. And on the 14th day they rested and made it a day of feasting and rejoicing. But the Jews in Shushan assembled on the 13th and the 14th and rested on the 15th and made it a day of feasting and gladness. So the
Commercial.
Okay.
Shushan, where they lived,
Yes.
means lily, and it's a code word. It doesn't mean lily; it's a code word for the Jews.
Oh.
So, like in a lot of the prayers in the prayer book,
A lily of the valley?
especially for today, it's called Krovitz. Is the prayer that we say today. Krovitz says it calls the Jews Hashoshanim.
Lilies of
The lilies. Why? Because in Song of Solomon chapter 1, it says there's one lily surrounded by tons of thorns. So what do you think the thorns are?
The world.
The Gentiles. One Shoshan, one lily is God. No, it's the Jews. It's the Jews. Israel. Totally surrounded by Gentiles, and that's God's beloved.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So the Jews who lived in the unwalled towns make the 14th of a day of gladness and feasting, and the holiday, and the sending portions to one another. And was it Mordecai? Yay! Wrote these things and sent letters to all the Jews in all the province of King, how do you say, Verosh. To establish this among them. And they should keep the 14th of Adar and the 15th yearly, because those days the Jews rid themselves of their enemies.
That's right, baby. Follow it.
It was the month which was turned for them from sorrow to gladness. And from mourning into a holiday. To make them days of feasting, rejoicing, and sending food to one another, and gifts to the poor. So the Jews undertook to do what Mordecai had written to them. For Haman, the enemy of all the Jews, had schemed against the Jews to destroy them, and had cast, was it Pur? Or Dur? That was the lot, to disturb and destroy them. But when it came to the king's attention, he spoke by letter that this wicked scheme against the Jews should return on his own head, and that be on his sons that should be, was it, I think, hanged on the gallows. Yay. Yay. No, there's one more or two more. Okay, it says, therefore they called these days of Purim after the day of Pur, and because of the instructions in his.
They named Purim after Pur. Lots. Pur. Lots.
Pur lots, okay. And because of the instructions of this letter, the Jews established and made a custom for themselves and for their seed. And their seed, what it would be their, would it be their offspring?
Yeah.
Okay, it says, and for themselves and for their seed and for all those who allied themselves with them, so that they should not fail to celebrate these 2 days according to their statute and according to their appointed time yearly. So these days were to be remembered and celebrated throughout every generation, every family, and every province, and every city. And these days of Purim were not to fail from among the Jews, nor their memory fade from their children. Then the Queen Esther, daughter of how do you say?
No,
Abel.
I can't read it. Avi.
You got too much.
I can't read it. No. Let's get it right.
Okay.
Achi Va'il. There you go.
Okay. With Mordecai, the Jews wrote with the full authority to confirm the second letter about Purim, and they sent the letters to all the Jews to the 127 provinces.
How many provinces? 127. Why? Because of Sarai. Right.
Amen.
That's how long she lived.
As the 127 provinces.
Sarah, not Sarai.
And the kingdoms of, how do you say,
Achash.
Verosh. the words of peace and truth, to establish these days of Purim at their appointed times, just as Mordecai, the Jew, and the Queen Esther established for them, for themselves and for their seed, with instructions for their times of fasting and lamentations. And the word of Esther established the customs of Purim, and is written in the scroll. You want to read this?
I'll do that.
Okay.
Thank you, hon. All right. This is the last one. Now, King Ahasuerus laid a tribute on the land and on the coastlands. You know what the coastlands is? Anybody know? Greece. Very good, Becca. Greece. So the very last words of Esther, listen, is the coming up of Greece, of Hellenism. Right. Because Hellenism came right after the Persian Empire. And so here they come. King Ahasuerus laid a tribute on the land, that means taxes, on the land and on the coastlands of the sea, Greece. And all the accomplishments of his authority and strength, and the full account of the greatness of Mordecai, to which the king advanced him, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Media and Persia? Well, aren't they? Yeah, of course. Of course they are. For Mordecai, the Jew, was second only to King Ahasuerus and great among the Jews, and in favor with the multitude of his brothers, one who sought the good of his people, and one who spoke for the welfare of his whole nation. This is the first book in the Bible that says the word Jew. Did you know that? It's the first book in the Bible that says the word Jew. The only others that say Jew is Ezra and Nehemiah. Why? Because they didn't need to be called Jews. They were called Israel. And so Israel is synonymous with Jew, in case you didn't know. There's a lot of people in this world who say Israel is different from the Jews. They are not different from the Jews. They are the Jews. And it's extremely important that we know that Israel is the Jews. So let's sing that. Let's sing the Purim song. Come on, man. Let's sing, baby. Purim song. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Again. Whoa. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. 'Tis everlasting. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Oh, we redeemed from the hand of the enemy. There were those who dwelt in darkness, in the shadow of death and misery. They cried out to the Lord in trouble, out of all of their distress. He pours out contempt on princes, washer repairs in a path's way. Yehudim hayta, ora v'simcha, sason v'sason bikar. Yehudim hayta, ora v'simcha, sason bikar. Give thanks for the Lord is good. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Again. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good.
answer from the Haman's hand. Haman's son Hammedatha rose up to finish the fools of Amalek. Then God raised up Queen Hadassah, and the news broke Haman neck. Him now the south, the Yehudim, Isteve Yom Tov, but Abim, Ve'ami Ha'aretz Bim. Oh, Simcha, Yehudim, Isteve Yom Tov, but Abim, Ve'ha'aretz Bim, Yahadim. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Sing! Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Whom he redeemed from the hand of the enemy. There were those who dwelt in darkness, death and misery. They cried out to the Lord in trouble, out of all of their distress. Wandering Persia in a pathless way. Yehudim Haisa, Oda Vesimcha, the Sason, Yehudim Haisa, Oda Vesimcha, the Sason, for the Lord is good. Sing! Woo! Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Turn from sorrow into gladness, victory from the enemy's attack. Haman's son Hammedatha rose up to finish the deeds of Amalek. Hadassah fasted 3 days, a noose for Haman's neck. Simcha, Sason, the Yehudim. This day, the Yom Tov, that Abim. Ve'ami ha'aretz bim, Yahadim. Oh, Simcha, Sason, Yehudim. This day, the Yom Tov, that Abim. Ve'ami ha'aretz bim, Yahadim. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Oh, give thanks for the Lord is good. Oh, give thanks, it's good.
can't think of anything else to do. I'm going to have to wait a while before I drive home, though. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Hope you had a good time. Hope you learned. Hope you enjoyed. We got to work together to clean the place up.